Let's talk about the nonprofit world. It's all about the mission, the community, but what's that invisible thread holding everything together? Well, it's data, and even more importantly, it's how the ethical use of that data has become the ultimate test of a donor's trust.
So, let's just kick things off with a big question. What do you think a nonprofit's most valuable asset truly is? Is it the money they raise, the amazing, dedicated volunteers, or is it the mission statement itself?
It's trust. Yep, that's it. Trust is the real currency in this sector. It's the thing that inspires someone to make a donation, to sign up for a volunteer shift, or to truly believe in your mission. And in our digital world, that trust is put to the test every single day by how organizations handle our personal data.
Because when that trust is broken, well, the consequences are severe. And this isn't some hypothetical scenario. The cost of mismanaging data is steep, and it is immediate.
Okay, let's just start with a number that gets everyone's attention. 20 million euros. Under Europe's GDPR, that's the potential fine for just a single data violation. And don't think this doesn't apply to you. This law covers any nonprofit that handles data from EU residents, no matter where in the world you're based.
An expert from 501c3.org really frames this perfectly. Data compliance isn't just about dodging massive fines. It's a direct reflection of your organization's commitment to being transparent and respectful. It's literally putting your core values into action.
And the damage goes so far beyond just a single fine. A data breach creates this absolutely devastating ripple effect. You're looking at long-term damage to your reputation, a major drop in donations, and even having your emails blocked as spam. All of this can trigger investigations, and at the end of the day, it can cripple your ability to actually do the work your mission calls for.
So how do we prevent this catastrophe? How do we build a fortress of trust around our data? Well, it all starts with a solid ethical foundation, and that foundation is built on just a few core pillars. This is where we get to the core idea of data ethics. And this is not just a buzzword, it's a practice. It's about handling data with a laser focus on privacy, on getting informed consent, on being transparent, and all while actively trying to reduce bias in your systems. And Nasha Mungu highlights exactly why this is so incredibly critical. Think about it. Beneficiaries often share their most sensitive information during a time of crisis. A breach of that trust isn't just a data problem, it's a very human problem that can completely derail your mission. Being ethical isn't just a good idea anymore. It's also the law. And navigating all the regulations around data privacy has become more complex than ever before. Just take a look at this short list. You've got GDPR over in Europe demanding explicit consent. Here in the US, California CCPA gives residents total control over their personal info. If you touch any kind of health data, HIPAA comes into play. And even your email campaigns are governed by laws like CAN-SPAM, which require super clear opt-out options. It is a complex web to navigate, for sure.
But just being compliant, that's only part of the story. There's a quieter, maybe even more insidious threat lurking inside our data: bias. And this is where data ethics moves from just protecting people to actively promoting equity. Wow, Fred Ali from the Weingard Foundation just hits the nail on the head. He says that bias is often baked right into our systems and assumptions, whether we even realize it or not. Our data can end up reflecting and even reinforcing historical inequalities instead of helping to fix them. And here is the stark reality of what that bias looks like. An analysis by the organization Echoing Green found a staggering $20 million funding gap in its own applicant pool. White-led organizations had raised over $60 million, while black-led organizations had raised only $40 million. The data is telling a very powerful story. And it gets even more pronounced when you look at something called unrestricted net assets. That's the flexible funding that really signals deep trust from donors. For black-led organizations, this crucial asset base is 76% smaller than for their white-led counterparts. This isn't just a number. It's a trust deficit that you can see.
So what's the solution? Well, Echoing Green didn't just identify the problem. They took action. They put 3 key changes in place: blind application reviews, implicit bias training for all their decision makers, and they empowered their own alumni to lead the judging. These are concrete, proven steps to create a much more equitable process.
Now, for the best part. Embracing data ethics isn't just about avoiding risk or correcting wrongs. It's actually a massive strategic advantage that leads to way better results. Technology is already here. A majority of nonprofits, 58% in fact, are already using AI in their day-to-day work.
So the question is no longer if we should use these powerful tools, but how we can use them ethically.
And here is the payoff. When AI is guided by strong ethical principles, organizations have seen their donation conversions double. That's twice the impact, twice the resources going towards your mission. So how is that even possible without compromising privacy? Well, Ashley Montgomery from FundraiseUp explains it beautifully. The key is to focus on behavioral data, things like when people engage or what content they respond to, instead of all that sensitive personal information. You get the insights you need without crossing those critical privacy lines. So it all adds up to this. Better data ethics leads to higher donor retention and more revenue. It helps you build stronger, more authentic relationships. It frees up your team to focus on storytelling instead of data management. In today's world, good ethics is a competitive advantage.
So we'll leave you with this one final thought to really consider. Take a hard look at your own organization, at your own processes. Is the data you collect and the way you use it actively building the trust you depend on, or could it be silently breaking it down? The answer to that question could very well define your future.